Good morning. Welcome to the 2010 National Conference on Volunteering and Service and to this business track. This is the opening of our business track in the CEL Roundtable, and we are thrilled to have you all. We had a spectacular day yesterday at Radio City Music Hall. We have over 5,400 attendees, our largest conference ever. Yes. And New York has welcomed us in the style and fashion that only New York can. And I think all of you who were able to make it last night were inspired by the extraordinary volunteers that were celebrated, and my personal highlight, Ruby D, who was just amazing in reframing service as protest and as the constant protest to create a more just world. So I want to begin by acknowledging today that we are here, and this is made possible through the generous support of our sponsors. General Electric Company is sponsoring today's business track opening, and our entire business track is supported by JP Chase, and you're going to be hearing from Kimberly Davis later. Both of these companies manifest and embody the most exemplary social innovation and corporate engagement practices. And we just really want to thank them for their example and also for their investment in creating a platform like this where we can continue to evolve and shift and change our work. Over the next couple of days, you're going to be experiencing some amazing networking opportunities, but also a platform for people to come together and learn from one another. You have been led by a group of peers who are the planning committee for the business track, and I want to begin by recognizing those people, starting with Mike Karen from JP Chase. Can the whole business track planning team please just stand if you're here? I just want you all to be recognized. So the great news is that you all have put together something that will be of interest to your peers, that you all are the leading experts, really, and that we are being led by you in creating the platform here. There's going to be a lot of rich discussion throughout the next couple of days, and I just want to highlight a couple of the themes that I think are resonant and that will be continually brought up. One is this larger theory and strategy for service as a solution. I think we've heard that throughout the last 24 hours, and we'll continue to hear that. Businesses are really leading the way in this. We're seeing businesses focus more than ever on concrete change. Since Points of Light started about 20 years ago, it's amazing to think about it was not the norm for corporations to have necessarily social responsibility platforms or certainly to have corporate engagement programs. We have come a long way in the last 2 decades. And I think one of the most important trend lines is how corporations are focusing their efforts to actually create change. So GE in education, Coca-Cola in water, JP Chase in financial literacy. We are seeing how corporations are tackling specific problems that their core competencies most align against. We're also seeing corporations work together. We're seeing corporations unite in shared practices to create institutional change. At Points of Light and Hands-On, we have a corporate service council. You're going to hear from John Rice a little bit later, who chairs that. But corporations are gathering and really thinking about how can they take action together. The third theme is that skill-based volunteering and companies that are employing the efforts to get their employees most focused on the things where they can really bring their aligned core competencies. So we have a huge emergence of this pro bono and skill-based work, which I think is extraordinarily exciting. We heard about the $1 billion and change from Senator Warner. I think one interesting piece of this, as companies become more and more focused, is how does that balance out with also an increasing kind of self-determination that employees are interested in defining their own philanthropic efforts based upon their own interests, and how do we orient those two targeted focus for companies but also empowerment of the passions and interests of employees. So I think that might be a theme to explore. The fourth theme that I think is interesting is how companies are not only engaging their employees, but also their customers. We've heard about Disney mobilizing 1 million people and giving them tickets to theme parks, Starbucks asking their customers to commit 5 hours, Hasbro that's engaging their young customers in service efforts to help Haiti. So, corporations have an extraordinary way of mobilizing the full reach of not only their employees, but also their customers. And finally, I think we are going to and will continue to see a great push for accountability and results. And one of the things I want to call out to you is in your packets that are on your seat is a employee volunteer program reporting standards summary. And the Corporate Service Council, another example of people coming together, 60 companies have joined together to commonly define some of the ROI that is happening through their corporate employee programs, both business ROI and also community impact. So we look forward to continuing to share that with you, and I think that's an indicator of the possibilities ahead.